Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and the finale of my F1 2018 career mode. It is the end game, the final episode, 147 videos on this game, guys, in terms of career mode, and we are at the end. If you guys missed the last episode for the Brazilian Grand Prix, check it out by clicking on the card in the top right hand corner of the screen, guys, where the last upgrades took place. And before we get into any further spoilers, of course, watch the episode, because that is going to set up this finale between myself and Charles Leclerc going for the World Drivers' Championship. Ferrari versus Sauber. The Constructors is also still up for grabs, and it's all to play. If you want to see how exactly we got to that point, then check out the last episode. If not, check out the whole playlist, guys, if you want to see how the season got on, and how we constantly tried all season to try and catch up to Sauber. You can see on the screen, no upgrades for anybody this race, as we move on towards qualifying here at Abu Dhabi. Now, Abu Dhabi is not one of my best tracks. Now, it's very good for me personally in terms of I've got good pace, but this is also a track where the AI are very quick as well. So it's one of them ones where it falls in the category of Bahrain and Baku in a way. Not as much, but still a little bit of it, especially because the AI are incredibly good. And that's the main point. They're incredibly good at using and saving their tires around the circuit compared to the player like myself. So it's going to be a big challenge, but we're going to try our absolute best. We've got the car for it now, and it's the best it's ever been. So we're going to try and absolutely push this prancing horse to the absolute limit. Qualifying, we're going to go for 3 runs as always on the Hypersoft tyres. My best run was actually my first run, surprisingly, so we'll run on board for that entire lap very shortly, as you can see here, coming around the final corner, or the final couple of corners here, and just getting everything set up, getting everything up to temperature, and we're going to see how this goes as we get ready for the last qualifying session of this game. And here we go then, turn 1, you're looking for the 100-meter board break. Just before it, down to 4th gear, we actually lock up a little bit, run a little bit wide, missed the apex at turn 1, losing about 2/10 there as we carry the speed through 2 and 3. Let the car do the job for you, let the car just kind of flow through there as we go down the hill towards turn number 4 and 5. A little left-right chicane combo here. You want to really try and attack the chicanes and the curbs a little more if possible, as we now go into the hairpin at turn 6. Slowly on the power, easy on the power on the exit, then making sure you get a good exit, as straight line speed is absolutely critical here on the back straight, maximising all the top end speeds. We hit 350 k's pretty much now as we brake towards the left hand chicane here, and you want to brake just before the 50-meter board down to 2nd gear, pick up your apex, and then really focus on the right hander to open up the exit and really maximise your straight line speed down the 2nd of the 2 max straights, as we now go towards the end of sector 2 and into the start of the final sector, kicking things off with a left-right-left combination here, as you can see, over the curb, and taking it very easy, but also trying to, take a big chunk out of those curbs if possible, as we now go over the off-cambered left, a 90-degree left-hander there, and now into a triple apex right, which feeds into the hotel section. First of all, kicking it off, a 90-degree right, you want to really attack the inside curb, there's a lot of time to gain, and now underneath the hotel, double left-hander combo, as you want to try and take it nice and easy here. Don't go on the power too early, otherwise you will spin, and now into the final 2 rights here. First of all, the bottom of the corner, we get a little bit too late on the turn in there, get stuck on the curb and miss the apex, and then the final corner is actually quite nice. We hook it up quite nicely as we run up to the line, and we only go P3 behind Nico Hulkenberg, and that was my best lap in the session, a long way off Marcus Ericsson's time. And I say that was my best run because, as you'll see in a moment's time, this was my 2nd run in the session, and it wasn't as smooth. Straight away through turn 1, we made up for the lost time here. You can see we found about a 1/10 of a second to 2/10 through there. But then through turn 2, okay, little wobble. But then through turn 3, the rears go, and we hit the wall. And it's a big, big crash to end our qualifying session. And not what we needed going into the championship finale. And as you guys know, in the championship, the gap between myself and Leclerc is 16 points. I'm leading, Leclerc is 2nd. 16 points is the difference. And after qualifying, add in a little bit of a qualifying timing glitch where the gaps got exaggerated, and you got Sebastian Vettel on pole. Big surprise. Again, Vettel, just like in Brazil the last race, comes through and picks up a 2nd pole in a row and helps me right out, because Leclerc won't start from pole. Can he try and do me a favour in the race and try and keep Leclerc behind? That would be fantastic if possible. We will go through the permutations in a minute at the start of the Grand Prix. But Ericsson P3, Hulkenberg 4th, Sainz, you've got Ricciardo, Alonso, Magnussen, Perez and Ocon running out the top 10. We will start from P12, make that P11 in the race, because Ricciardo has a grid penalty. With that being said, though, we do have the free choice of tyre, so let's go and win this championship. It's time for the last race of career mode. Let's jump into it.
So here we are, ready to go racing for one final time this year. Another season of victories, controversies and rivalries lies in our wake. And just one challenge remains here in the United Arab Emirates on a circuit that made its spectacular debut back in 2009. Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The drivers will be racing here on Yas Island today through 21 corners and a lap distance of around 3.4 miles. There are plenty of opportunities to pass with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, at turns 8 and at turn 11. Plenty of close racing then, plenty of speed and plenty of drama to be found in the laps to come. With me today, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Martinez. They're starting towards the back of the field today in a car that is fast, so they'll be disappointed, won't they?
They'll have a sinking feeling as they look up from the cockpit and realise they're in a different postcode to the start line for sure. But the one positive they can hold on to is that the car is quick and they can make their way through the field.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ericsson, Hülkenberg, Carlos Sainz, and Alonso, Magnussen, Perez, Ocon, and Stoffel van Dorn, Martinez, Hamilton, Romain Grosjean, and Bottas, Gasly, Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty. Lance Stroll and Brendan Hartley. Verstappen and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, we are in the end game now. P11 on the grid. Fresh set of ultra soft tyres ready for the race, and we have got big work to do here today. No setup changes, unfortunately, because Park for May is on. Therefore, we have to try and race with the same setup we did in qualifying and try and avoid the same mistake. The pressure's on. Luckily for me, Sebastian Vettel is on pole. I don't know if you hold the lead into the first corner. Leclerc notoriously gets good starts in career mode. I'm hoping Vettel can do the job and hold him off for now and keep him in second place. All I can do is my absolute best and push through the field. It's going to be a very, very intense race. And the permutation is going to be quite interesting because the gap is 16 points. So, if Leclerc wins and he picks up 25, I need to find 10 points to hold on to my lead. 9 points would mean it's a draw, so I need to find 10 points. To get 10 points, you have to finish in P5. So, the target is simple. If Leclerc wins, I've got to finish 5th. In other words, I've got to beat one of the Renaults and also finish behind both Saubers and Vettel. So it's not too bad. It's actually quite realistic in that sense. But, you know, Abu Dhabi is not my strongest track. So we're going to see how it goes. AI are very strong around here. I'm hoping the strategy plays dividends for us. And also the tyre wear upgrades really come into effect here to really help us out with tyre wear over the race. In terms of the strategy, we're going to start on the Ultras, go on to the Supers, and we're going to go for the one stopper. And in terms of fuel, we are going to go 2 whole laps over, which is very heavy for this F1 car, because I can normally go about 0.5 of a lap over, but we're 2 whole laps over to go in rich mix and be very aggressive from the get-go. So with that being said, we're going to jump into things here, and we're going to try and do our absolute best, and fingers crossed Sebastian Vettel can do the job for us, because if he wins the race and Leclerc comes second, that's 7 points that Leclerc is automatically missing out on. So that would help me out massively. With that being said though, let's jump into it here, and it's now time for the finale of my F1 2018 career mode, the final ever episode on this game. It's time for the end game here at Abu Dhabi. Let's jump into it. Right, here we go then. The 5 red lights come on at Yas Marina. 5 lights are on. Lights out, and away we go for the final time. And it's a pretty average start. We're going to get to the inside line though, which is where you want to be. In towards turn 1. Yellow flag behind, it seems. A bit of contact possibly. And Vettel has held on to the lead from what I can just tell in the distance, which is good for us. So Vettel holding on to first place. Got to take it easy at first. I don't really have much confidence after the qualifying crash. We're going to go down the inside of Stoffel van Dorn there. Absolutely send one down the inside and make up those positions early. We almost hit the back of Ocon there. We're going to pick up a track extension warning there for going wide there, but that's fair enough. Now we're going to test out the Ferrari's power unit here by running rich mix and overtake ERS here. No DRS just yet, but we are going to get a very strong tow here off the Force India. We're going to pull to the inside and blast past Esteban Ocon. On the brakes, we're going to show Ocon the long way around here and take the inside line. Ocon though keeps his car in there, but I'm going to just go around the outside and close the door. We're going to make an adjustment to the brake bias, put that up to 55. But so far it's a good start as we're into the top 10 already, more specifically P9. And also the good news, even better news, Sebastian Vettel has held on to the lead, which is crucial for the championship. So let's get ahead now, get to work. Up next is Sergio Perez. Vettel actually opening up a little bit of a gap there at the front, which is really good. He seemed quick in qualifying, he genuinely seemed to have very strong pace, so that's good news for us. It's important as well to not kill my tyres. If I can keep my tyres in, that'd be fantastic, because tyre wear around here is an absolute killer. Once you hit like 25%, the tyres feel like absolute rubbish. So it's important to really try and keep the tyres in as long as you can. But we're already putting the pressure on Perez here. I'm so much faster than him, so we're going to try and get past him straight away. This pit straight's a little bit too short for me to have a go, but I'm going to leave it in hot lap mode and rich mix as we try and get the run. Hopefully I'll be able to pick Perez off on the back straight. But Vettel really going for this early on here as I take a bad line there through turn 3, and I'm getting off the throttle quite a lot because, like I said, I don't really have the confidence, and that hopefully will come, as the laps tick on. But for now, we're low on confidence. But let's try and get a good hairpin here if we can. Really try and close in on Perez if possible. He's got a good toe off Magnussen. It's a strong exit from us though. Perez is a little bit too far away though, I think, unless we get the perfect toe. We're struggling to pull him in, but now we're starting to gain here. Now we're pulling him in. Down the inside, it's a late one, very late lunge, but we're going to make the move. Taking no prisoners here. We've got to make these overtakes stick, and we are past both of the Force Indias. Up next, Kevin Magnussen. You can see the Saubers and Vettel pulling away from the midfield pack, so to speak, or the upper midfield of the Renaults and McLarens, and that's kind of where we need to slot in this race, because pretty much if I get 5th or higher, in this case P4 or higher, it doesn't matter what Leclerc does, we will be world champion. So the target is to come home in P4 this race. That's where we need to be. Right, DRS enabled now in lap 3. Vettel with a fast up at the Grand Prix actually, so he's setting the pace out front. Leclerc can't seem to match him at the minute. I'm hoping Vettel is outside of a second window, so Leclerc can't start pulling him in, because that way Vettel will stay in front. Meanwhile, DRS enabled. I don't think Magnussen will have DRS from the car in front, therefore he's going to be vulnerable here. If he does, I think he's still pretty vulnerable because we're very close to him. We get a good, nice, smooth run through the chicane and through the hairpin. Magnussen does get some pretty good acceleration. He doesn't have DRS though, so here we go. This is going to be a very simple move. Magnussen does go defensive a little bit, but we're going to get the job done. And we're now up into P7 here, making really good progress early on, actually, better than I anticipated. I thought I'd struggle a bit more to get past cars, but we are making very good progress, and we're getting past guys pretty easy. And we've got the tyre advantage as well of the Ultras. There is a possibility that Leclerc and Ericsson, along with Vettel, they could one-stop from the hypers straight to the super softs. That could happen, but if that does happen, those laps when they're struggling on the hypers are my laps to really try and catch up on these Ultras. So let's see how it goes at the minute though. Ericsson can't keep up. Vettel still holding the lead. Leclerc, seemingly, from what I can tell on the minimap, seems to have DRS because he's keeping with Sebastian for now. But we're making great progress here as we're now catching up to the Renaults and Fernando Alonso. There we go, another personal best, 34.3. Starting to find my confidence a little bit now as well. I've got to be careful though, because of course that corner can always catch me out, and as the tyres start to wear out, as we have a little wobble there, as the tyres wear out, it's going to get harder and harder. But this is why I had the extra fuel on board, so I could run in rich mix all the time and basically push at a high engine mode. I think this is going to be harder now though. The Renaults are slipstreaming each other and the McLaren. The McLaren isn't too good for straight line speed. The Renaults are very good for straight line speed. They are very strong, one of the strongest cars. So it might be quite hard to pass Sainz. We're going to have to get much closer to him if we want to have any chance of passing him. Let's see how we go into the chicane here. Hopefully we can make up a little bit of ground in the braking and then get a good exit. Get the power down nice and early. That's a good exit. That's really good. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Sainz will pull away a little bit here. He's going to have DRS and a nice toe. We're going to commit to the inside here. Not much room, but we're going to go for it. On the brakes. Job done. Very clean overtake so far as we get past Carlos Sainz. Now we're up to P6. Fernando Alonso up next. Leclerc still pressuring Vettel, but Vettel also seems to be in control here, which is good. So at the minute things are looking good for us. All the upgrades in this car recently have paid off, as we have a very strong package now. There we go, we match our personal best, even though I'm stuck behind Alonso there through sector 4. Now we're going to try and pick off the McLaren. I'd love to say I'd pick off Hulkenberg and Alonso on the same lap, but I think Hulkenberg's a little bit too far away. The car getting a little bit loose through there, got to be careful. Running it in rich mix and also hot lap mode makes the car even more sensitive at high speed. Let's try and get a good hairpin though. We'll lock up there, but we're going to get the rotation, which is good. The McLaren isn't too good for straight line speed, even though he will have DRS. The McLaren is not too good on straight, so here we go. We're gaining on Alonso. To be fair, he's doing okay, but we are going to once again commit to the inside line. Alonso does go late on the brakes, to be fair to him, but again, we're going to close off the door and not let him come back at us. I think we're too far back from Hulkenberg to have a go at the Renault this lap, but hopefully next lap we should be able to get him. But job done so far. Things are going very well. Car's working fantastic in the race. Much better than qualifying. Even though I've done those setup changes, it just seems to feel better in the race. And we have strong pace in this tyre as well at the minute. It's holding up okay. So let's keep it that way. There we go. Nice and easily done through the first 3 corners. Now is when we start to put the pressure on here. This should be a very straightforward overtake on Hulkenberg. Even though the Renault is quite quick, he doesn't have DRS, which is what the other guys have had. So this should be a very simple move. Hulkenberg does get a strong exit and good acceleration. But here we go. Now we're starting to pull him in. And now we're going to get the DRS, and here we go. It's going to be a simple move. I'm actually going to stick to the right-hand side this time because we're going to have him before the brake zone and take the racing line back. And there we go, we're P4. So right now, I'm world champion in this position. So by an absolute tragedy or horrific show, we're going to bring this home in the championship position, hopefully. Regardless of whatever Leclerc does, P4 makes it mathematically impossible for Leclerc to do anything, even if he wins the race. And we've got the favourable one-stop strategy, so it's looking very good. What would ruin it now would be like a safety car or something that would just mess up, not my strategy, but will, give others the chance to come back into this race from behind. So let's hope it's a nice smooth run-in from now on. Also, I can actually see Ericsson. I think I'm faster than Ericsson in a minute. His Harper's maybe fading already, and we've got the edge on the Ultras. So let's try and make some work here. At the minute, dare I say, I fancy a chance of winning this race. I seem to have very good pace. Okay, Leclerc pits in. That's a very early stop. Will Leclerc roll the dice and go for the aggressive strategy and go for the 2-stop? Sebastian stays out, so at the minute Leclerc is going to undercut Vettel. This is potentially also an undercut attempt. It depends when Sebastian pits in. At this point, I'm hoping Seb does go for the 1-stop and goes long because he seems to have the pace for it. But very interesting that Leclerc comes in. Yep, Sebastian stays out, so it's looking like Seb's probably going to try and stretch the hypers to 1-stop territory, whereas Leclerc is going to be 2-stopping. So very interesting strategies here as we set another strong lap. Ericsson this time pits in, so quite surprisingly, all season long the Saubers have had the tyre wear advantage over the Ferraris and have been able to go long, whereas myself and Seb have had to pit a lot. This time though, thanks to the recent upgrades, it's myself and Seb who go long in this race on the first stint. Of course, I've got the benefit of the Ultras, and we're going to go for the 1-stop, it seems. So now we're going for the 2. He needs to stay out, so he's definitely going for that 1-stop. I'm guessing he might come in lap 11 probably, or maybe even this lap, to be fair. This might be his pit stop lap. We're running at a very consistent pace here, pretty much matching my personal best every single lap. There you go, Leclerc now starting to pump in the lap times on those fresh hypers, as you'd expect. Starting to struggle with the rears now. I'm at that point now, my tyres have just gone above 25%, as you'll see here on the rears, and the car's starting to handle a bit funny. The tyre wear just isn't consistent around here. The rears go off quite easily. Speaking of which, my rears, temperature-wise, are also starting to go up a little bit as well, so I've got to try and manage that if I can. We're only going to be on these for a few more laps until lap 12, so it's not too long. Hopefully Leclerc doesn't catch me up and we can stay in front and try and keep some of that gap. Okay, Seb stays out for one more. That's even more surprising. So surely he'll come in now because I'm pitting lap 12. If not, I'm going to have to go even longer onto lap 13 probably.
Sebastian is in the pits.
There we go, finally Sebastian pits in. A mammoth stint on the Hypersoft tyres, but he's going for that 1-stopper. We're going to pit in now at lap 12, the very next lap, and get the supers on as well. So very good strategy from the team. Looks like Vettel's able to follow it. Actually, Vettel's gone for the Ultras, so very impressive. Very, very impressive there. Seb going for the 1-stop on Ultras. This goes to show I'm struggling to do 12 laps on my Ultras, but Vettel can do 16. That's fair enough. And very impressive stuff. We're going to go for the super zone, play it safe. Right, here we go then. Let's come into the pit lane. We've done a very strong first stint. Now we're going to come in for the super softs. Nice and easy does it into the pit lane. A very strong first stint, making the overtakes that were required. And there we go then into the pit lane, hitting that pit limiter beautifully. Leclerc's going to take the race lead for now to the pit box. 2.2, very good stop there from the boys as Ericsson goes by. We're going to slot out right in amongst that kind of upper midfield traffic there who are on the hypers as Grosjean pits in. On the pit exit, let's see, maybe we can rejoin just behind Hulkenberg. That'd be great. It'd only be one car worth of traffic. On the pit exit, up to speed. Alonso It's going to be close on the hypers. Tyres are cold, but we are going to rejoin in front of Alonso, crucially. That's good. So we're now on the super softs, going to the end of the race on these. And we're P5, which is good. Hulkenberg will have to pit. So, again, we're looking good for the championship. Vettel as well. He's looking great to win this race, to be honest. And that's really, really good news for us. So, no complaints on mine. Looks like Vettel's going to make it 2 wins out of 2 in the last 2 Grand Prix of the season. And as things stand, Leclerc will not be world champion. So, let's try and keep it that way. Hulkenberg in front does have pretty good pace on what is a relatively fresh Hypersoft tyre. I'm just about going to get within DRS, but I think if I'm going to challenge him, it's going to be on the second straight. I don't think I've got enough on this one, even with DRS, to try and challenge the Renault. He's running at a pretty good pace. That Hyper is still relatively fresh, like I said, so it's going to be quite tricky. We are going to close the gap, though, an absolute treat. And we just got to keep it nice and tidy through the chicane. A little lock up there, but that's okay. If I can get a good exit, like I did with Sainz, there we go. It's going to be close. Hulkenberg does get good acceleration. Letting the car max out on the revs. There we go. Here we go. We're within range. We're going to go for it. Down the inside. It's a late one. A little bit of contact there as we force him wide. I do misjudge the braking a little bit there, but we are going to get it done with a little bit of contact. And we're back up into P4 and past the Renault. On we go. Looking good for a podium here as well, as Ericsson has to pit. Personal best, 33.1 as well. That's a very good pace. To say I'm on the slowest tyre, that's a very good pace. As the fastest lap is, I believe, a 32.4 from Leclerc on hypers. That's 2 compounds softer, so that's a very strong pace from me. Another personal best, 33.0, and that was without the slipstream on both of the straights. So a very strong pace there, which is very good to see. Okay, Leclerc pits in. You can see leaving the pit exit now. He's on the ultras, so he's going to have a lot more pace, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to spoil this party and come out in front of him, so Sauber have pit him out in a nice bit of clean air there. So expect Ericsson to pit in this lap and also go for the ultras. So at the minute it's looking like Vettel's going to win, and we're going to be third on the podium, and we're going to have to try and defend that third place from Ericsson, who will be on fresh ultras coming into the Grand Prix. So that's going to be like the target, I think. There you go, as expected. Ericsson pits in, so now he's going to go into the ultra soft, and the gap that we will have is the gap that we need to defend going into the rest of the race pretty much. So there we go, Ericsson's in the pit lane. We'll wait to see what tyres he puts on. It will be the ultras. There we go, ultras for Ericsson. So let's try and defend this third place and try and finish this race and finish the season on a podium. Looks like we have a slow moving Force India here on the mini-map. Luckily Vettel got past unscathed, which is the main thing. Because if Vettel retires, that's not good. I want him to, finish the season with another W. But it looks like a Force India is going slow here. We're going to have to be careful with it. Now Leclerc's got to tackle it in this kind of slow section as well, which is going to make it awkward. And Leclerc's been stuck behind it as well, I think. He got caught up a little bit there. So Esteban Ocon, I'm guessing he's got a puncture. That's my guess. But Leclerc's actually coming in. Leclerc's coming in, so he must have had contact. Surely, I saw him slow down on the mini-map. So Leclerc must have picked up damage. So right now, in this race, it's looking like a Ferrari 1-2 to end the season. This could help our Constructors' Championship out. It's mathematically almost impossible for us to win the Constructors. We're 40 points behind, but if Ericsson has a problem and he retires now or something like that, you never know. It could really put the cat amongst the pigeons, but I do think it's too little too late, unfortunately, for us in the Constructors to make anything happen. I think Leclerc should rejoin in P4, unless he's having a front wing change, which I think he is. He's going to rejoin there P5, just behind that Haas, so he's still not too far behind, but we're looking good here for a Ferrari 1-2, which is definitely not what I expected going into this race. Wow. Okay, so we're finally into the negative of fuel. I'll keep it in rich mix for the rest of this lap, and then I'll go back to fuel saving mode and get fuel back on target in case Ericsson does challenge me coming into the Grand Prix. Ericsson's got really strong pace here. I'm struggling at the minute on these tyres now, and he's really catching up to me. But you can see all that lap traffic in front. That could be very interesting. That could play into my hands or against me. We'll have to see how it goes. But I want to fight for this 1-2 finish, so we've got to keep pushing and try and keep Ericsson behind. He is going to catch me. The question is, will he get past me? I'm going to make it very hard for him. I'm going to make my car very wide. Even though the championship's at stake and I've got nothing to win by keeping Ericsson behind, I just want it to be a 1-2 for the team. So we've saved fuel, we're back on target, we can now push again, and hopefully I catch the traffic before Ericsson catches me. Mistake there, that's not going to help. Just starting to struggle on these tyres now. I'll make it to the end comfortably, it's just I haven't got the performance to really respond to Ericsson's pace. Pretty strong final sector though, even with that mistake. We keep Ericsson 1.7 behind, hopefully out of DRS range. He does seem to find like half a second in sector 1 alone, even though it's mainly flat. Very little confidence through here now. Tyres are struggling, that's a big moment there. Look at that, Ericsson found nearly a second in sector 1 alone. He's now within my DRS. I haven't really got much rear tyres left, but we're going to have enough to get a good exit and good traction there. Ericsson will get close. I don't think he'll challenge though into the brake zone, which is the main thing. Now we've got to try and survive this second straight, which is going to be even harder. We want to really get a good exit here, which we have done. But Ericsson's closer this time. Here he comes. He's got the run. I'm going to go defensive. Cover off the inside line. We're going to hold it on the brakes. Very late on the brakes, but we do hold on. As we now start to hit the traffic. First off, we've got both of the silver arrows. Oh, that's a big wobble. Ericsson with the run on me, actually. We have to go defensive and show them the long way around. See, the AR can go flat through there because they've got inbuilt traction control. I don't, so it's harder for me. Ericsson down the inside again. This one's going to be a tricky one to defend from, to be honest. He's much closer. He's going to have to run on the entire straight. I'm going to go defensive early on. Hope that a little bit of dirty air will stop Ericsson in his tracks a little bit. Ericsson locks up. That will do. Thank you very much. We will take that. And we stay in front. And we should be okay. There we go. We're going to be okay for this straight as well, which is good. And now we're going to hit a lot of traffic now. A lot of traffic. 4 cars. Okay, then let's see how this traffic gets out the way. First off, it's Lewis Hamilton. Stay to the right, my son. Thank you. Lewis gets out my way. He's going to cost Ericsson though. So that was time to perfection. Now Pierre Gasly. Thank you. He pulls over to one side. Ericsson losing ground here, which is good for me. Then next up, Sergei Sorokin. Gasly's slotted in behind me, which is good as well. Let's take it easy through here. I've got very little confidence through here now with these worn tyres. Good thing is we should nab DRS off of Sorokin as well, which is good news. Hopefully he gets out of the way on the straight though, as Ericsson's made progress now and has got past everybody. Sorokin gets out of the way, kind of compromises my exit a little bit there, but we are going to have DRS, which is good. So we're okay to stay in front of Ericsson for now. Hartley's got blue flags, he's realised, but he's not doing it the right way. Your screen freeze there for good measure. We are going to avoid contact with the Toro Rosso, but Ericsson slips through. Right, last lap of the race then. Vettel's going to win this easily. Now it's about trying to make it a 1-2 and hold on to second place. Of course, as well, the championship's at stake. I want to win it in style and beat both of the Salvas on track. I have no confidence through there though. Ericsson's going to get the run on me, but not enough of a run. So we'll take the racing line. Little screen freeze again there, that's not going to help. But here we go then into the hairpin. Keep it nice and tight on the power. Give it full beans on the exit. That's a good exit there. We do manage to get a little bit of a gap to Ericsson. He's going to count me there. He's going to have a lot of momentum from very far back. We're going to have to try very hard to keep him behind me this time. Late on the brakes. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Rotate the car around the chicane. Ericsson gets a poor exit. And that is it. That's job done for us. Ericsson won't challenge me into the next brake zone. And we will stay in front. There we go. The fireworks start to go off here in Abu Dhabi. Sebastian Vettel wins in Abu Dhabi. He makes it 2 out of 2 in the last 2 races of the season. But now we focus on ourselves here through the final few corners. We missed out last year in the McLaren. We signed for Ferrari. And we're going to bring them right back to glory as we come through the final 2 corners to win the World Drivers' Championship in red.
Grazie ragazzi, forza Ferrari, vai, vai, grandissima gara, macchina incredibile, fortissima, grazie a tutti, grazie alla squadra, grande gara, grazie.
great win then for the Maranello team today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy and to stay out of trouble.
There we have it then, the final race results of career mode are in. Sebastian Vettel wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for Ferrari. We come home P2 from P11 on the grid. Marcus Ericsson rounds off the podium. Charles Leclerc in the other Sauber P4, making that a Sauber 3-4 in the final race. Renault as well, P5, P6. Very strong performance for them here today. And then both of the Haas cars as well in P7 and P8. And then Alonso and Ricciardo round off the point scorers. Perez, Verstappen actually finished outside the points, but still within the lead lap. And then Van Dorn, Hartley, Gasly, Sorokin, Bottas, Hamilton, Stroll and Esteban Ocon all finished a lap down. Ocon, of course, with that puncture earlier on, and also a 10-second time penalty to his name. But in terms of the standings in the Drivers' Championship, we win the championship by 22 points. We actually extend our gap even more in this race, and very, very happy with that. Did not see that coming in terms of how the weekend went with a crash in qualifying. And also in Brazil, I mean, we got very fortunate. Leclerc got some slight damage in Brazil, and he finished P4 in that race as well. So 2 P4s in a row for Leclerc, which is ultimately been his downfall. And we get 2 second places in a row to end the season on a high. Really strong performance. Mexico as well was also very clutch. Winning that race was a key moment, along with many other key moments over the season. And there is your final championship order. Sebastian Vettel ultimately came good, but a little bit too late, winning the last 2 races. But if he'd come good earlier on, we would have had a much more of a closer challenge in the Constructors' Championship. You can see on the screen right now, we finished 24 points behind Sauber. Sauber, the only team to break the 600-point barrier. And like I said, if Vettel had come good a little bit, a few races ago, it could have been better. Vettel was unfortunately had quite a lot of reliability issues all season long. He retired from very promising positions in the race. But even that being said, 24 points adrift. It's a shame that we couldn't clinch both of the championships. But we are a World Drivers' Champion, dressed in red for Ferrari. And I'm so happy to say that, guys. And I cannot say how much that means to me, especially after a very tough time on this year's game. Lots of glitches and bugs in this year's career mode, including a bug that we still have today, which is the qualifying glitch, where if you do Q1, Q2, Q3, and you simulate time in the session or skip to race to the final results, it's just painful because you lose so much time. And we had a qualifying glitch in qualifying actually in this particular race, as well. So hopefully for 2019, all that stuff is fixed. And it's been a long time coming. There won't be as many people watching right now, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'll make a video separately about this anyway. But let me just say this. This is not my last race for Ferrari. We are done with this year's game, but we are staying with Ferrari going into F1 2019 for career mode. So stay tuned for that, guys. And I've let the cat out of the bag a little bit earlier for you guys watching until the end, but hopefully you do appreciate it nonetheless. With that being said, guys, that is it for career mode. And yeah, guys, drop a huge like on the video if you did enjoy it, and also get subscribed for daily Formula 1 and MotoGP content. F1 2019 dropping very soon, also MotoGP 19 coming very soon this week. And yeah, you want to stay tuned for that, guys. Turn notifications and subscribe if you are new, and finally check out these 2 videos, guys, on your screen if you have missed them. But other than that, thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video very soon, but until then, it's goodbye from me.
You were cutting your way through the field during the race. Another podium. You must be getting used to it up there. Appreciate your time.
Nice job this season. You've been performing well, and that's putting us in a strong negotiating position contract-wise. Plus, my 10%'s getting more valuable. So enjoy your break, and keep up the good work next year.